Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Late Night Learning. I am your host, Dr. Anthony Plomba. Now today we're going to be talking about group situational effects in video gaming. When we think about group situational effects in group video gaming, and when we think about individual effects in individual gaming, we think about external factors that are influencing the manner in which we play video games. We may not really take much time to think about how having somebody else in a room might influence the way that I play a video game. But if we think about it, if we go back to our childhood, and if we go back to thinking about a hot summer day, mom and dad are at work, you might be home with your siblings or friends, and you're playing a video game, what were some instances that were going on as you were playing these games? What was the conversation like? Did we have more competition going on? Were people quick to correct and criticize each other? No, you missed the weapon. No, you're supposed to go down that road. I can do better than you. Does this sound familiar? When we have people around us in an activity, the dynamics of the experience change. Differently, when we play alone, we're kind of in a self-reflective mode. We think to ourselves, we reflect to ourselves about opportunities that we take, roads that we've gone down, and obstacles that we've taken advantage of. And so when we think about all of these different dynamics that are at play, invariably, they're important to consider when we think about the overall video gameplay experience. So without further ado, let's get started. Situations. When we think about situations, we think about the consumption situation here. What kind of situation am I in as I'm playing this particular video game? We also have the situational self-image. And so the situational self-image is thinking about how you perceive yourself, your own self-image during the situation itself. And then, of course, we also have time poverty. Time poverty is this notion in which we don't have a lot of time to dedicate to any one situation. If there's one resource as consumers that we're constantly running out of, it's time poverty. And so when we think about where people are coming from before they play a video game and where people are going to after, the video game experience becomes more complex and intricate in nature. How are we receiving people as a video game? And then how are we letting them go as a video game? This used to not be something that could be measured quite well by marketers and by internal data managers. But since video game consoles are plugged in now to the internet and also offer a bevy of different applications that can be accessed, it follows suit that it's important for video game managers to be able to measure and really consider what people do after playing Madden. Do they go watch Netflix on a video game console? Do they access the internet on a video game console? Is there a pattern here? Is there something more to decipher about this experience? With all of these data touch points, there very well might be. Let's keep going. There are 4 types of time. We think about time as a social dimension first. So time is, in a sense, a societal construct, right? We measure time in seconds and minutes and hours, days and months, weeks and years. And when we think about time, we're also thinking about a few different kinds of orientation. Temporal orientation. So this idea of how long the time might be itself that might be dedicated to some sort of experience. Planning orientation. How much planning has been inserted into this activity? How much time do we expect to expend on this activity? There's also polychronic orientation. This idea that there are multiple times that are being measured in life. This idea that we're measuring not only the time we spend during video gameplay, but the time we're spending during that afternoon as we're playing the video game, and really the overall day itself. So consumers don't just follow one piece of time. We're always measuring time in multiple ways. As I'm recording this right now, I'm thinking about how I'm recording this, how much time I have in this lecture, but I'm also thinking about this morning. Did I spend it well? How many hours will be dedicated to this? How many hours will be dedicated to that? I'm also thinking about this experience, the time I'm expending here, in relation to the entire week that I'm living in currently. So time is a very intricate construct that forces consumers to really make tough decisions. Time, because it's something that's measured, forces consumers to make decisions. Note that. Because we have time measured, there's pressure on us to get things done. There's pressure on us to complete things. There's pressure on us to experience things. Let's keep going. We also experience time while shopping. So if we think about queuing theory, we think about shopping, we think about mood. When we're in a particular place, when we're queuing, when we're online in a queue, we're also expending time and energy and thoughts. And we're thinking about how to shop. And we're thinking about our mood as we're expending time on a line. A line also forces us to consider our options and to weigh our options. How long we may have consumers on a line also means how much time we give them to think. If we think about going to Starbucks, we think about going to Dunkin' Donuts for a cup of coffee, the time spent on that line will influence decision making. The time spent shopping and with all of the choices may extend how much time consumers expend shopping, or it might turn them off because there is a plethora of different options available for consumers. Let's keep going. Shopping orientation, social experiences. Shopping affords us the opportunity to browse. You'll notice that in any kind of store, usually, there aren't any clocks. There aren't any clocks because shops are interested in ensuring that you're focused in what's going on in a particular store. They don't want you to be measuring your time spent looking for products and services. Sharing of common interests is important during a shopping experience. Consumers are very much interested in trying to find commonality across different products and services. They want to find products that might communicate something about themselves. They want to find services that might communicate something about themselves or allow them to express themselves as consumers. Sharing of common interest is also part of the overall shopper experience, finding products and services that gel well with you. There might be interpersonal attraction and intrapersonal attraction. Whether or not we're attracted to other people in the store that may be possessing similar interests, or an attraction within ourselves for a particular product or service. There is this notion as well of instant status. This idea that we gain credibility or some sort of status by playing something. I play Call of Duty, people are going to know that I have strong hand-eye coordination, or strong dexterity, or stamina for that matter. And there's also the thrill of the hunt, being able to search and invest time and energy in finding something. Let's keep going. Showrooming in video game purchases. So shoppers will often visit a store for products and look for cheaper alternatives. We do this, right? When we go into a video game store, we might say to ourselves, well, obviously everybody else has this particular console. This is going to lead to some sort of perceived network externality by which everyone can see that there's value added behind this console because everybody owns it, everybody plays it. I don't really care about the Xbox One until all of my best friends have it, or the people I know have it. That drives up the added value I perceive with that console. What does this do to the video game shopping experience? How may instant downloads of purchased video games impact future retail stores selling video games? It's up for debate. What does this do to the video game shopping experience? It allows consumers to lock into haptic preferences. Haptic is about touch. Remember, haptic means touch. H-A-P-T-I-C, haptic. That means touch. When we touch and hold things, we perceive ownership over them. This is one of the ancient relics that has been bestowed upon us from our ancestors who had to navigate forest and jungle to survive. That if there was something I could hold and touch and wield, it's okay. And it may even help me survive. That has since been with us as human beings and is now in video game showrooms. So that if I hold a console controller, I perceive ownership. I perceive that it belongs to me. I perceive that this is a part of me. I need this. I want to hold this. I want to control this. And I want this to be part of who I am. How many instant downloads of purchased video games impact future retail stores selling video games? It's an interesting question. I can remember as a 5, 8-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever it was, I can remember being so stoked to go to Toys R Us, to go to KB Toys, and to buy a video game, Super Nintendo video game. And man, they came in these big boxes. And when you opened it up, you got the video game and you had a booklet. There were so many haptic experiences going on. I was so excited to be able to hold the fresh new video game. If we think about instant downloads, that changes the entire haptic experience. It's removed. It's just a square on the screen in your digital library that you can click on and access the game. Additionally, because it's in a digital library, you have to look at all of the video games as you search for that game to play. The experience is different. The way that consumers may make decisions is different. I have to look at all video games before I find the video game I want to play. I'm also not holding it anymore. It's kind of just removed a degree or two. So relationships that may be built with video games may be a little bit different, may be a little bit superficial, may be a little bit more distant. How this impacts brand loyalty has yet to be determined, but it would make for an interesting study, that's for sure. Let's keep going. Altering the shopping experience in retail stores. We know this to be true in any Mac store, in any Microsoft store. I am sure some of you have been in a mall in the last year, especially around the holidays. We all go to the mall. At least some of us do. But a mall continues to be a really good hangout on a cloudy or rainy day. And so when many of us are in malls or may go to malls just to hang out, to go see a movie, increasingly to go to the gym or to even go to a nightclub, yes, some malls right now are incorporating nightclubs and gyms in them. There are a few themes that are necessary here to consider. Landscape theme. When we think about the outlay or the layout of a particular store, it's all about how much time we wish consumers to spend in a particular area. If we think about the Apple Store, right away, consumers are met with haptic experiences. Right away, consumers are given opportunities to lose themselves in particular pieces of technology, hardware and software. There's also enough space between each device that you can't see other people using the equipment. That means you can get lost in using this stuff. That means that you're not distracted as much. That means you can have greater haptic experiences and greater perceived ownership. And it's likely you're going to walk out of a Mac or Microsoft store with something. We can also consider marketscape themes. How are we advertising within the store? What signage is there? What's the path I want my consumers to take as they're going through a retail store? What do I want them to consider? We also have cyberspace themes and mindscape themes. This notion about using digital technology to infuse different visual experiences within a store is also crucial when we're thinking about how to appeal to consumers. In a lot of stores now, we'll see videos being offered and playing. We'll see different advertisements playing. We'll see interviews playing. We'll see different connections to websites being manipulated in the store as ways in which to get the store to be more digital as it is physical, creating a tertiary experience, creating a third experience. Stores have had to become more swift, more cunning, more competitive, and have really had to give consumers a reason to go. Capital One Banks right now has a cafe in all of the banks. Retail stores have had to push for innovation as the internet has cannibalized a lot of content, products, and services from stores. Let's face it, if the same sweater I'm wearing is available online as it is in store, and I know what my size is, I may purchase the product online. With the video game product, there is no size, right? If I have an Xbox One, I have an Xbox One, standard. And so between that and between platform agnosticism, this notion that we can play any kind of video game on any kind of platform, smartphone, laptops, desktops, whatever it may be, there really is no size fitting. Digital media has taken care of size fitting. We go to stores to see if it will fit. We go to stores to see if I'm comfortable with something. We go to stores to see how it will look. With platform agnosticism in gaming, be it Google Stadia, be it a lot of the digital media out there right now, there's no fitting. Fits on my smartphone, fits on my laptop, fits on my desktop. I don't have to go to a room and try a video game on. I don't have to. And so because of this, the shopping experience in video game stores in particular is way behind and really does need a complete overhaul, in my humble opinion, in becoming more digital savvy, more tech savvy, and more aggressive in really offering consumers a tertiary experience. Let's keep going. Store image. When we're going through and looking at a store, we might be also thinking about what the store looks like. What's the coloring? We know that color is very impactful on perceptions from our consumers. We know red could mean love, could mean passion, could mean anger. We know black can be richness or ambiguity or unknown. We know purple can mean royalty. We know orange can mean health. What's the store image? What are the atmospherics? We know that if we go into Abercrombie & Fitch, it is almost like being bombed with Agent Orange with the amount of cologne and perfume that is sprayed in some of these clothing stores. That's an atmospheric. What do you smell when you come into a store? What do you hear? What do you look at? Increasingly, what do you taste? We also have activity stores and pop-up stores as well. These are meant to spark interest and buzz quickly. When a pop-up store pops up, it's usually buzzed about on social media. This serves as a way for opinion leaders, influencers, and other important people to advertise and to spread word of mouth about something unique that cuts through all of the noise in the marketplace. We also have mobile shopping apps as well. With mobile shopping apps, we're able to quickly shop for a lot of products without going through all of these atmospherics. What does that do to the shopping experience? If I can go on my Starbucks app, if I can go on my Express app, if I can go on my Gap app, then every experience is probably a little bit more similar. Could that be argued? If I do all my shopping on my smartphone, it's all on the same platform. Am I getting kind of the same experience across apps? Certainly apps are different, no question about it. Is there more room to differentiate yourself as a retail store versus an app? Is there a better or greater opportunity to differentiate your brand as a physical store versus as an app? There's only so much I can do on that screen. These are questions that retailers are currently grappling with. Let's keep going. Uncertainty reduction theory. People are interested in eliminating uncertainty and to increase predictability. People are eager to reduce uncertainty in select circumstances. They become interested about behavior when people violate our expectations and our anticipations as well. Communication may influence and be an effective piece in uncertainty. We're always eager to reduce uncertainty in select circumstances. It's something that we carry about ourselves when we meet people and when we meet with groups and when we talk to groups and when we think about from our interpersonal experiences in shopping malls, on apps, and we come to meeting people. And we come to falling in love or having relationships. This can be applied to meeting fellow gamers. This can be applied to finding your video game tribe, your video game entourage, in which we're interested in eliminating uncertainty and increasing predictability. Think about your crew on Call of Duty. The people you've picked, in part, it is because they are interested in the same thing you are. And you've picked them because they eliminate uncertainty. You've picked your fellow Call of Duty people, your NBA 2K people, because they increase your predictability of winning, of knowing who knows how to shoot the three, of knowing who knows how to shoot a gun and execute headshots and really be a great sniper, whatever it might be. Communication influences and is effective in eradicating and reducing uncertainty when we meet people online, when we meet people in groups, whatever it may be. This is the first step. If I have Anthony or David or Keith or Dennis on my team, I'm interested in them helping me eliminate uncertainty and increasing predictability during gaming. Let's keep going. Relational uncertainty. This is the degree of confidence people have with each other. Now, we might think about our current boyfriends and girlfriends, or perhaps ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriends. We might think about how we feel about somebody else. Partner uncertainty is related to the doubts one may have about the partner's level of certainty in the relationship. Now, if I have Devon on my team, or Jessica on my team, or Paige on my team, or Olivia on my team, I might say to myself, how close are we? I don't really know. I don't know about Olivia. I don't know about Paige. I don't know about Jessica. I don't know about David. It's not feeling right. I don't know that I'm confident with them in playing another match or game or battle in League of Legends. So if there's this ambiguity, weirdness, lack of communication, it can serve as a prediction that a relationship may become unhinged. And so relational uncertainty is extremely important, especially when we're playing video games as teams. It is important to be connected with your teammates. It is important to hash out things. It is important that if a team player is looking for feedback, you give it to him or her. If you don't give honest feedback back to your teammates on a video game squad, you're creating distrust. You have to give honest feedback. You have to give honest responses. This is a way to ensure your relationships truly will be stronger. And this goes into the workplace, this goes into personal, this goes into romance. The more honesty that you can have in relationships, generally speaking, the stronger those relationships will be. Let's keep going. Decision making in stores. So we think about those relationships. If we think about going to shop in groups with other people, trying to find that video game, trying to find that handheld console, trying to find that hot new video game that everybody is raving about, we might be exposed to a few kinds of shopping. Might do spontaneous shopping. It's when we might go to a mall or might go to a store and just to check it out, but then we become locked into making a purchase. We become locked into looking at something. There's also this notion of unplanned buying. I didn't plan on buying something, but I've exposed myself to so much stimuli, so many different products and services. Different cues and heuristics are manifesting. I'm starting to think differently. I'm starting to think about different things I may or may not want or need. The products and services are convincing me I might need something. I might need a service or a product. And then this boils back down into impulse buying. One of your buddies might pick up a video game, then I'm picking up a video game. We might look at our hands. By the end of it, we might have 3 or 4 old video games and maybe a brand new console. Maybe, if it's backwards compatible, sure. So decision making in stores on an individual level and on a group level really create complex shopping experiences, and experiences in which we have to be mindful of how we're making decisions. When we go into a store, be it individual, be it as a group, when we play a video game as an individual or as a group, we can quickly see that there are certain theories that can help explicate and explain what's going on. We think about uncertainty reduction theory, any kind of relational uncertainty. We think about the distance between us and other people. There isn't truth in that relationship. If somebody is withholding information, somebody is creating ambiguity, the other person is searching for some sort of truth, that might lead to some sort of unhinged relationship. It's important to note when we make a decision how we're making it as an individual and how we might be making it as one member in a group. Well, that's all the time we have on Late Night Learning. As always, keep laughing and keep learning.